Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of Premier Power Events Podcast. So that would be PPEP.
That's right. That's right.
These initials very well, Melita. Oh my goodness. Welcome. My name is Curtis J. Hanna, and I have the beautiful Melita Daly with me. So we are honored that you're going to be with us for the next maybe 30 minutes or so, learn a little bit. I am like over the top excited. I've been working and planning and strategizing. I started working with events in I think it was fifth grade, Melita. I
Wow.
was chosen by my principal to record the basketball banquet. That is
Oh,
the first event I ever remember doing. And from then on, I think everything in my life has been an event, from marching band to going off to college, working there, then moving into the life of funeral directing, because everything in funerals is an event,
first of all,
Like,
I just think that is crazy. When you told me that you had been a funeral director before, it is like so outside of how I have always envisioned you because you don't have that somber presence that sometimes we expect from funeral directors. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And so when you told me that, I'm like, I cracked up. I was like, you're kidding. So I had no concept that that was your background.
Meredith is my first wife, and we are best of friends today. Like I mean, I've talked to her 3 times today, so we are great friends. And she may or may not be watching, but when we would always get into a heated argument, I would all of a sudden turn on my funeral director voice, and she would get
Yes.
very upset because I could just put this calm, clear voice out there. So yeah, it's a learned skill. It worked out really well. But then I started doing in-person events and online events. And then I realized how much there is a need for people to learn things. So I think
Yes.
that's when I reached out to you and said, "Hey, I know you know a lot of really smart people, and I know how to do technology really, really well." Because I might have started my first event in like sixth grade, but in fourth grade is when my sister got a typewriter that was electric. It's
Right.
started
Right.
the keyboard. I'm aging myself here, but we're not going to talk about ages at all today. But that's really where this started for me. Is I reached out to you talking about things,
And
and
and Curtis, if you remember right, I'm going to take you back. How this has been something that I have just researched and have enjoyed the possibilities in my mind of for probably 10 or more years. And I even remember one time you did a video. And I still remember you did a video where you were telling parents how to look through their children's teenagers' phones to find the apps they really shouldn't have on those phones. And I listened to the video and you had put it out there. And I remember calling you and saying, Curtis, you need to put this in a form
yeah,
and you need to that people could actually access this information because parents would pay for this. It would be so helpful to them because, children and tech and apps is a little foreign, especially if you're not familiar with the apps. And so, things can kind of slide under the radar for parents if they're not aware. And I remember calling you saying, okay, Curtis, this would be great. Read this book, get that book. Here's another book. I'll screenshot it from Amazon and send it to you. And so I've always been fascinated with the opportunity of being able to share knowledge with people that's outside of the norm that you would think for them. So we knew you doing events, but I had no idea that you also were knowledgeable about the different apps because you had teenagers. So you had to research and find that information out. And it was so valuable for people to be able to have access to that. So we talked about you doing courses years ago.
yeah.
Uh,
I
you
mean,
know,
I think they were even tweens at the time. They're
yeah,
16 and 17 now, and they were like 11 and
yeah,
12 maybe at the time. And
right.
we recorded that like and did it over a spring break because that's the time we had, and they were so excited because I brought them the actual cash. I went to the bank and got the cash and took it to them, and they're like, "Okay, can we do it again tomorrow?"
Right, right, right.
So that was a great experience, and that is where this friendship started of you.
Yes.
And then every few months you'd give me a call. Okay, what are you thinking? Like, You're sitting on all this information. You've got to share it with the masses. You've got to share it with the masses.
And the thing about it is that I always say women wear many hats. In other words, you may know them because they're doing XYZ over here, but you didn't really realize this other knowledge and information that they had and maybe had, a certification in or a degree in, or just from personal experience, and how that experience and that knowledge could help other women who were going through the same path in life at that time. And so, yes, it was a powerful brainstorming session. And I know that you have worked to put it all in place for the past. I think when we finally went, ding, hey Curtis, this is an idea that you could run with. I think it was like May of 2025.
Yes, that's absolutely when we started this process, and I remember the weeks we would go through, and we were using all the tools that were foreign to us now that we don't even think about. Like,
Right.
I clearly remember you and Joe fighting over your bags for an entire week on
Oh,
an
yes.
image. Do you remember? You're like, that's just not right because we were so new to the AI. Didn't know to start with a new prompt and give it a new prompt, and then it would do it all over again, and didn't know which .com to buy and where to buy it, and all the things
Right.
that grown with business. I
And let me
just
tell you, I was so excited, not to cut you off, but that's my little squirrel ADHD going, woo, don't forget this. I was so excited when we talked about the potential of this company that you could start. And then I was so excited when I was one of the first people that you signed for the company. And because I know that there's so many things that I have to share that I don't get to do in my regular day to day life. And I know that you have had connection and commitment from other women that when you told me what they did and like what the topic was, I'm like, oh man, I didn't have any idea that they knew so much about that. And it was just amazing at the lineup that you have developed of
yeah.
women who are ready to share.
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible. I get blown back all the time. I have to revert back to when my mom, I'd left the house, I'd, gone to college, I'd got on my own, and I came back, and mom was like doing these poses and breathing, and I'm like, "What are you doing, mom?" And she's like, "I do jujitsu now," and I'm like, "You're a factory worker. Like, I live on a dairy. We live on a dairy farm. What are you talking about?" So in your saying of that, when you start interviewing people and realizing that they're a great fitness coach, they're a great organizer, they're a great redeveloping your thoughts, they know everything about the law of attraction, they know somatic marriage, they know all these
Yes,
incredible details that you didn't, you think you're wide in your knowledge. These people are deep in their knowledge.
absolutely. And a lot of it's because they've lived it. They've lived it, they've researched it instead of just going through it. Because, these women are successful in their own right, in their day to day life. But there are other parts of them that also, as they were experiencing some of the things that they were going through, also felt led to research to get more information on, not just go through it, but to become someone knowledgeable of that process because they want to be able to help other people who are going through those same things. And so, yeah, I am amazed because you shared, I kind of know behind the scenes a little bit of the lineup of just education that is part of what you're going to be offering through Premier Power events. And the cool part of it is no one has to show up anywhere. They will be able to access all of this training, all this information from their home or wherever's convenient for them.
Yeah. I mean, I won't lie to you right now. I don't even have shoes on. Like, this is the best thing about this.
Right.
The lockdown changed a lot of things for us. I know from reading your newsletter the first time, you are the biggest like Walmart, Target, whatever shopping that you can drive up. You're a drive up shopper now. You don't have to go
Yes.
through 3 grocery stores every week. And so
Right.
things about lockdown that were wonderful. And this is one of them. We realized that we can go through a screen and learn everything. My daughter Hollis is making dinner in the background, and she does not call me on the phone anymore, Melita.
Yeah.
She FaceTimes
Yeah.
because it is like
Mhm.
being in the room. So we've got to not only develop that for ourselves, but it's like being in the same room with your teacher when you have them on this. And my favorite thing is you can make them talk faster or you can make them talk slower. You can pause it,
Right.
you can rewind it. And then workbooks that come with that, and again, the classes get deeper and deeper as you want to get into it.
Yes.
I don't want to really spill all the beans and tell them every speaker got lined up, but you are the first coming
Yes.
out.
Yeah. Yes.
So
It was
maybe,
the first contract that's signed. So because I just love this whole idea and this whole concept. I mean, Curtis, what your company is doing, it's basically putting together for no other better way of saying this, a virtual Walmart of self-help and personal development for women.
right,
I
right.
mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and I'm going to take it up to like Nordstrom's because I haven't gotten Walmart level
Yeah.
people. Just
Yes.
we
Exactly.
all just know Walmart, okay? And most
Yes.
until I was like 25, I didn't know what Nordstrom's was. But really, like you were saying earlier, these people have not only realized that this is where their niche is or this is what they know about, but they have dug way deep in this and put in hours and hours of training and certifications and practice their craft so that they can share it with others. And I've done a lot of transitioning over the past kind of 3 or 4 years in my life and realized that when it comes down to it, when I'm looking before God and what I see myself as, it's a helper. So what I realized, Belita, is I realized that God really intended for me to be a helper. I might not be the person who is in front of the camera 24/7, but I can help those whose skill is to be a speaker, to be a teacher, to be a guide, and I can help them do that. So that's really the role I play with this company. And the reason I founded it, the reason I started it, the reason I'm passionate about it, the reason we have a really cool logo, like all the fun things, and started this podcast so we could get the information out there so that the people that I know can help others because that's the only way you can get information out in 2026 or 2027 or whenever you have to be watching this is you
Yes.
to engage with that content. So I know we've got a lot of people on the list and I've told you about so many of them. I mean, there's
Yes.
so many, I can't
Yes.
even keep them straight now. I get confused.
Right. Well, I remember that you shared with me, and we're not naming names yet. We're going to let that kind of be a surprise as these opportunities to learn from these amazing women come out. But I just was amazed at the different categories of information and support that was going to be available for women. I mean, you have, and I know I'm going to miss some of the topics could the different content or different niches that you are presenting, so forgive me, but I just remember thinking, whether you have anxiety and panic, or maybe you have someone in your family who's addicted and you need help with addiction, or if you yourself love a glass of wine at the end of the day, but maybe it's going a little heavy on the wine and you're wondering how to kind of calm that down. I remember one of the things that I was just so impressed with, because so many people face it today, is autism. How to work a lady who is trained in that, and that's what she does in her day-to-day life. And if you have a person who has autism in your family, she's talking about how to work with them. And also Alzheimer's and dementia. If your parents are going through that, have someone's going to talk about that. Also have like some fun stuff. I mean, when you shared that list with me, I was like, oh, fitness after 40? Yeah. Just knocked in there. Menopause? Oh, yeah. Just tell me more about that one. You have someone who is going to be talking about fashion after 40 and how to take your house and make it into a home, how to entertain and decorate and floral design. I mean, you have such a wealth of information that is coming out this early fall. I'm just so excited for you, Curtis. This is
I know.
big.
I know. It was really huge. And really going back to that, like, I've done a lot of events and I have a lot of contacts with that, and this is how we're able to find all these people and all these
Mhm.
speakers. And I feel like truly have a niche for everyone because
Yes.
you named off 3 or 4 of those. I'm like, we've gone through addiction in my house. I just moved to a new house 2 months ago. I didn't realize how important my front door was, nor that I could buy one wreath for 5 seasons and only
Yeah.
one wreath. I didn't have to buy 12. You know, I didn't know how much standing on the ground and taking a deep breath would relax your
Mhm.
nervous system and
Right.
those type of things. I mean, the little pieces of things. And I know when I told you about that over 40 stuff, you were like, hallelujah, where's the menopause person, pre-menopause
That's
post?
right. Yeah.
On I don't know. There's like 12 types of it. I was learning them all. But
Right.
I really think it's support for all these people to where it's all like entry level, or I've just made it to where it's all like entry level. So it's
Right.
not like a $10,000 investment in anything. Now, if you want to
Right.
invest that, talk to you one on one for days on end.
Yeah.
But
Right.
all these to be an investment level, and the best thing is the curriculum is yours. Then you get to keep,
Yes.
you get to watch it, you get to, um, print off your workbook, do your studying, and that's the thing I love the best about this is it's something that you can do on your own pace with support from people in every facet of life.
Right. Absolutely. And when I looked at your schedule and I just thought, and I was going to say, if I was one of the people getting the email, but I am on your email list, that every 2 weeks you're going to focus on three different categories or topics with three different incredible women. And it's going to be that way all the way through the fall. And so, I would be that person that would, and I will be that person that will jump in. It's like, okay, who's he showing this week? Okay, so who's I want to hear about them. And because I know you've shared with me that, we're kind of doing a podcast. So, because I helped you brainstorm some of this. You are the tech guy through and through, and you are the guy with all the connections. You know these ladies through different things that you have done, and just in your regular, I mean, how long have you been doing? I know you said starting in fifth grade, you videotape, but seriously, really getting into doing events.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the first time I can truly remember a on-stage event that I was managing and in control of was in the fall of 2002,
Oh,
2003, one of those
yeah,
2 years.
yeah,
So, and I'll turn 45 this fall when everything comes out.
right,
But that's more than half of my life I've been doing events.
right, exactly. And just look
I
at
think I do
all,
them pretty dang well.
right, exactly. And just look at all the women that you have met over those years. And that's just, I mean, and you've gotten to know them because, when we would go through the different things that you attended and you were part of, it'd be like, hey Curtis, it's like everybody, you were everybody's friend. And so everybody felt like, they knew you, even
Right,
if they didn't really know you, they knew you, you
right,
know.
right.
And
It was so funny. I had one woman walk up to me one time because we started we did cassette tapes at first, and then we moved on to CDs and digital downloads. But someone walked up to me one time and said, "Are you Curtis?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm Curtis." She said, "I listen to you every day." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She always says, in the recording it says, "Okay, Curtis, next slide. Okay, Curtis, next slide."
yeah,
Won't do that this time, I promise.
yeah,
You only get to hear me on the podcast. But it's true. I've been doing events in and around, loving the systems of events, loving producing them. And just, Melita, I have the privilege of being or having been to 49 of the 50 states with my career.
wow, yeah. So
I've got
you
to get to Alaska. That's all that's left.
right. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
That means look at the women that you have had access across the nation for, is that 23 years? If it was 2002, did you say 2002? So,
2 or 3. Yeah, somewhere in
yeah,
there.
yeah, somewhere through there. So it'd be 22, 23 years. And so I know that all things, I always say life is a big puzzle, and sometimes you don't know the big picture. And, who would have ever thought 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that you would be at this point in your life getting ready to release the most amazing lineup of topics and instructors, trainers, educators that are giving someone an opportunity, to better their life in so many different ways. I mean, as women, um, we're women first, we're daughters, we are sisters, we are wives, we are mothers. We lead so many different situations that we go through during our life. And just to know that I could have a resource to help me through those different times and different periods of my life, whether it's something with my child or something with my parents or something just with my head, or just maybe not feeling my best, feeling that I'm stuck, all those things. It would be great to have a resource that I could reach out to and feel like, I'm reaching out to a friend. And the fact that you lined all this up is just amazing. I just can't even begin to think. I know you've shared with me the lineup and the people. And if I forgot to tell anybody or mention someone, I'm doing this by memory. I don't have the paper that he shared with me. But to just look at what's getting ready to happen in the fall, and then we will start in the spring again, it's just being able to reach out and help people.
Mhm. And I'm really grateful you said that, continue this process so you'll get to
Mhm.
hear from these speakers again. But I think, being a teacher online, and you've been teaching online for a long time now, we develop our best curriculum when we put something out there and then get critiqued on it.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's why I'm so excited to bring this to everyone, because the comments we get back are, I want to learn more about widgets. I want to learn more about wasits and which whatever it is. And that's where we can take our training and our information to the next level, because I promise you there's somebody out there somewhere that can
Yes.
teach us where it is, and we can find it. We have some incredible resources like that, and it's just so supportive. I always said I had to go through 3 cars before I knew that you change or at least add oil to a vehicle, because
Uh-huh.
that's not my thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it to be my thing, because that's not my natural gifting. My natural gifting
Right.
is helping people get their content out. So I am so excited that I can pull all these brilliant genius people to one resource and be able to share all those resources with everybody, so everyone can have that genius for whatever spec they need. And it can be such a resource, because I don't know how many times I show up at church or the park or Friday after 5 or something, and somebody says, man, I really wish I knew how to do XYZ. And now we're going to have a bank of information for people
Yes.
available immediately to go to access, to give them the link and let them dive deep into learning how to know the difference between a calculator and a fake calculator on your kid's iPhone,
Right.
or
Right.
the difference between, one wreath or 5 wreaths for your
Right.
front door, or whatever the situation may be. Okay, Melita, as we end our first episode here, our inaugural episode of Premier Power Events Podcast,
Yes.
PPEP.
PPEP.
I've about that one a long time. I know that you are going to be our first guest speaker, and this episode's going to drop the 1st of July. So happy July, everyone! Hope you have some fireworks. Are my favorite, so send me some fireworks photos. I would love
Mhm.
to see them in the comments and email them. You can always email us at hello@premierpowerevents.com. So we would love to hear from you. If you want to get on our mailing list, hop on
Yeah.
our website, premierpowerevents.com. We can add you there. But I know you don't want to give away, because you're going to be back just in a couple weeks to tell us all about your amazing offering. But can you share just a little something, something? Can you give them a tease for 2 weeks?
Right. Well, basically, I have worked with many women over probably 40 plus years. Okay. Because I've done many different things in my life that dealt with women. And I noticed that as we start getting a little older, or we start becoming complacent in our life, that things start happening, our confidence starts going backwards, or how we think about things changes, or, our body isn't the same as it was when we were 20. And we're like, what's up with that, And so, what I did was I connected with five fabulous friends of mine, and they are going to give you tips on those different areas of life. And they're going to share with you how to get your head right, how to get control of what's happening with our bodies as we get older, even maybe some fun with fashion. There's just a whole bunch of things in there that we're going to share, how to get really clear on that next chapter. And we might even hit something on that dreaded M, menopause. Okay. So we're going to cover all those things that we deal with in our life. And I really believe that the information these ladies are going to share is going to give everybody a fresh new look on
Oh,
what life could be for all of us. It's going to be fabulous.
that is amazing. I am ready to sign up today.
Yeah.
So okay, so they've got 2 weeks. Is there a website that they can hit of yours to go to and sign up so they'll know exactly when this course is coming out, this information?
Yes. Yes. They could go to melitavip.com,
Okay,
and that information will be there.
perfect.
And we're going to put some more information out as we get closer to it. And they'll just check an email from you
Yeah.
from our events when we open it up and let people register for it. But it's going to be phenomenal. And you're going to see these ladies in a different way than you're used to. And that's the really cool part about it.
Yeah, you never know what's under that big yellow tarp and what people have
You're exactly
information
right.
about. My
Yeah.
sister I have two sisters, two older sisters. One of them is a kindergarten teacher, fifth grade teacher, has been for years. So you know what that is, right? You know how to teach kindergarten. A lot of our listeners are teachers. My other sister has a master's degree in recombinant genetics.
Right.
That is, I don't know. I still don't know. But every time I ask for it, they're all very important words. And her
Right.
daughter has got her doctorate actually last year. And I read it's a thesis, right? That's what doctors write at the end. I understood the and water in her thesis. It.
That's right. Yes.
So we are pulling that caliber of people
Mhm.
together to educate everyone. Well,
Absolutely.
I have enjoyed our time, Melita. I
Same
appreciate
here.
your time for listening, friends, and can't wait to see you back in 2 weeks for the
Absolutely.
second episode and find out who these amazing speakers are. So
Absolutely.
until then, friends, we bid you adieu.
Bye.